Drew. Now, earlier on in the State of Nation address, the President spoke of the CCTV cameras and said that for the businessmen who can afford it, should at least have them maybe in their businesses or workplaces and their homes. So we asked for your opinion on Twitter and Facebook pages. Mugabe Collins saying that installing CCTV cameras is a good idea, especially for security, but we pray the money is not embezzled. Mugabe Collins, there your thoughts. It makes sense. Security should be everyone's responsibility if you can afford it. He is right, that's the President, because sometimes we need to protect ourselves first before it becomes a collective responsibility. So some of your thoughts. Remember to hashtag NTV News. Still talking about the State of Nation address, I have two guests tonight joining me. I have the Dokolo Woman MP, Honorable Cecilia Ogwal, who's not new to Newsnight. Good evening. And I also have the MP for Agago North, Honorable Ogenga Latigo, who's pretty much been with us the whole day, if I could say that. Yeah. We'll be talking more in Newsnight.
Newsnight is brought to you by Kampala Electric Mart, proudly associated with Chint.
So welcome to Newsnight. I'm pressed before we go into all the details to ask, just maybe in a few sentences, what your thoughts are, honest thoughts of the State of Nation address today.
Starting with me?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Flavia, and good evening, viewers. For me, there were probably two or three things. One, you know, in the East Parliament, I was the leader of opposition, and so I had the responsibility to listen to the President religiously and then to respond to him in my statement in reply. So I sat there like the former leader of opposition, yes, watching the President do the things that he always does. When he delivers the State of the Nation address, he has two things. He has politics and a message. The politics was very clear. The politics was about Kampala, the youth in Kampala, and how he can win them over. All the programs he talked about was about the politics of Kampala. I believe my sister Betty Kamia must have played the role in advising him to do the things he's doing. Now, the other one was the message. And for me, there were two aspects to the message. Yes. One, to recognize that if we mix development with politics, we'll fail. Yes. And for me, that was a big revelation, big admission.
I thought it was big of him to actually say that.
Absolutely.
Openly.
And for me, if we can follow the message with doing it, such that we leave out politics from the future of this country, from the future of our people, and from the imperative that we must undertake to deliver to our people.
So that's the message and the politics.
Yes.
Honorable Cecilia Ogwal, you new friend, have always been friend, old friend. We'll go into that later, but your thoughts of
Well, I can only say before I say anything, I wish to express my condolences for the loss of this young girl, Carol, who died so young to cancer. I think that has opened our eyes to be more sensitive about the rampant cases of cancer among the youth, among the young people. In the past, it was a sickness for the old people. So I think that is important to not lose sight of that. Secondly, I think the President is right that the two of us are not enemies. I don't classify him as an enemy. He is definitely my political opponent. And the two of us have chosen two options. He has chosen a militaristic approach to governance. I have chosen pure and simple democratic approach to politics. And so the two of us are towing parallel lines. And I'm also happy that today he has remembered that because of politics, I lost two of my very important investments, which are built over the years from my youth, you know. When you invest something, invest all your life, all your resources, all your saving on an investment, and it just collapses because Mrs. Ogwal cannot cross over to
So
the
are you
movement,
also saying
therefore,
that out
so
of today, they never mix politics with the economy? Was a message you were very happy to hear?
Well, I only wish that message had been practiced, not preached. I think that would have been good, because if he had practiced that, I think people like us and several other political figures in this country would not have lost their valued investment. Probably they would have been there. There's so many
saying, not have been victims.
But that is important. I mean, that's not important.
Yeah, let's try and squeeze some of these few things.
I have moved on. The company is gone, but I've moved on.
The question of wealth creation, Honorable Cecilia Ogwal, wealth creation, there's a question of whether it's going to be sustainable. All the skilling and all the projects, initiatives that are being put aside for the young people, is it sustainable over the years?
I think really let's address critical issues. Sustainability of wealth creation, that's not a matter which requires a debate or discussion. I think first of all, a State of the Nation's address must be State of the Nation's address. People expect accountability. Last year the President gave us...
So did we get accountability?
This is what I'm saying. Yeah. Last year the President made statements. The year before he made statements. So people are waiting. What have you done? What have you done? So the President should have come to us to say, last year I promised you this, and this is what I've done. Yeah. And he should be able to explain himself, why did he not achieve some of the things? And he would have had so many reasons, because maybe global economic crisis, maybe this, maybe that, and the anger and brought about by drought, prolonged flood. He would have had so many reasons to justify why certain things were not done. Yeah. But he chose to absolutely remain quiet about it. And what hurt me, as a person who comes from the north, is that people actually died and are still dying because of anger and famine. The President is aware that there has been prolonged drought. The people are aware that people in Teso, in Lango, and so are eating termites. He knows that. We are eating all sorts of insects. You can be talking, because all you need is something to sustain you and make you survive and be alive. The President is aware of that. I am shocked the President made no mention of that
situation,
and that really hurt me personally. It's as if it really hit at me. So I don't know whether to blame him, but I think, as my colleague has just said, I think the President was more focused on politics. I was defeated in Kampala, I must do everything to make sure I rectify that. But that should not make him move out of his central position to make sure that he's in charge. He's in charge of this economy, he's in charge of security, he's in charge of service delivery, he's in charge of the state. I want to hear what is the security situation in this country. A very key person of security died and was murdered.
And there was a question of torture.
Yeah, that is not important. But first of all, if Kawesa can't be murdered in the manner he was murdered, who am I? Who am I now? Who are you? So all of us can be just crushed like insects on the ground. So I think really the President should have come out to tell us what are the security measures he has taken, so that we should now live in at peace. But for him, he's saying, the economy has grown because there has been peace. I mean, to me, that's an insult.
Let me ask you, Honorable Ogenga,
excuse me.
Yes, please.
I think the President has to be informed that people are watching. We want
and they're not satisfied with the
accountability. We are not satisfied. Every year we give him money to drive security, to drive the economy, and we want accountability.
As we wind up, I'll just like you in a few short words. There was a question of corruption. Again, it's back every single year. This year, though, he says that we know you, we can see you, we will weed you out. If you know somebody, what takes you so long to weed them out?
The important thing is not knowing. The important thing is what you do with the knowledge. About
knowing.
And that is the tragedy of this country. That each time we know
who's corrupt,
and we do nothing about it.
So this is still going to be a story that...
I mean, I can be very rude.
Please.
But I'm talking as a scientist. I have made my investigations, and they say in the President's culture, if somebody doesn't have cows, they will bring him to look after the cows. After 3 or 4 years, and he doesn't have his own cows, is a fool.
Hmm.
Can we say that that cultural principle applies?
It has seeped into how we manage our
Exactly.
country.
For him, he doesn't see it as corruption. He sees it as somebody who is without possession, given an opportunity to become somebody and fails. You don't blame
The person?
the failure. You blame him for not having become something.
That speaks a lot. Honorable Ogenga Latigo and Honorable Cecilia Ogwal, thank you so much. That's all the time we had for Newsnight.